Alright, YouTube, you'll have to forgive my bench here. It's a mess. I cleaned it off a little bit just to do this video. This is the third try at this video today. Every time I get started, my stupid phone rings, or I get a text or somebody else trying to make me mad. So here it goes. Now, as you know by the title, I'm going to talk about the LCP II. Before I get into that, I will have my daily rant. I like to go out of town on vacation, maybe 2, possibly 3 times a year. But what I don't like is to stay in hotels or motels. I prefer to rent a house or a condo or even a cabin. Well, I just got back from a vacation and I happened to buy this gun on that vacation. But my complaint is, and if I'm the only one that's ever had this problem, I will gladly shut my mouth and hold my stupid sign proudly. Have you ever stood in front of a shower and it looked like you were staring at the dashboard of the space shuttle? They're talking about universal gun control. That's ignorant. Everybody knows that. But I could get on board with some universal shower controls. Let me tell you about the one I just stayed in. This shower was probably 10 feet long and 6 feet wide. It had a glass door from floor to ceiling. It was all tile, the walls, the floor. It was an awesome looking shower. It was huge. It had a shower head in the conventional place where you'd expect one. It had a giant basketball sized shower head straight up above your head pointing down. There was 2 small shower heads about waist level pointing directly at you. And there was 2 control knobs to run this operation. Not a word stamped on anything, no warnings, no directions, no nothing. Well, I know a little about plumbing. One thing I know is hot is always on the left. Now, my shower at home, the further you turn the knob to the left, the hotter it gets. This one was exactly opposite. The further you turn it to the right, the hotter it gets. But here's the problem. You couldn't turn it on without getting in it. It was so big. So I get in, I got the shower head facing away from me. After about 10 minutes of figuring out this first control knob, I get the water warm enough where I can stand to be under it. Okay. Everything's going smooth. I got hot water coming out of the conventional shower head in the conventional location. Well, all these other shower heads are now starting to intrigue me. There's a control knob under the main one with a handle pointing straight up at the 12 o'clock position. So, I got some common sense. So I figured if I turn this handle to the left, probably the bottom 2 will come on, or maybe the left lower one will come on. But what I didn't think about is how much water could be sitting in between the valve and the shower head. I turned the knob to the left, and lo and behold, a blast of ice cold water shot out of the right shower head straight into my nads. I blacked out for about 15 seconds, turned it back off. Alright, lesson learned. Step out of the way. I know there's cold water in the right one, because I just took a blast from the left one, so I turned the handle the other way. Cold water blast out of the other one, missed the nads. Joke's on you. But what I did not prepare myself for was the ice bucket challenge that dropped out of the basketball-shaped shower head in the ceiling. Well, after I regained consciousness and the ability to see colors, I learned how to work through operation, and the rest of the vacation went pretty smooth after that. But that's all I got to say about that. And if I'm the only one that's ever had a shower dilemma on vacation, I will shut up. But as you can see by the guns before you, I'm going to talk about the new LCP II. This is the LCP I, I guess you could say, but this is not the original. The original was terrible. This is a revised model and I believe it was around 2012. I went through all that in my other video. This one is far better than the original. But this LCP II is a vast improvement over this one. Well, I say vast. It is an improvement. I just stepped in a few minutes ago from shooting 50 rounds of Full Metal Jacket and 20 rounds of this American Gunner hollow points through this one. No malfunctions of any kind. The first 40 rounds or so I was shooting pretty low, but it's a new gun. It takes a while to get used to any gun. That's why you should always train with whatever gun you're going to carry. And I won't carry this one until I get another 100 or 150 rounds through it. Improve my shooting skills a little with it, and just make sure it's going to be reliable. Which, so far, so good on the reliability anyway. Just to familiarize myself, or re-familiarize myself with the regular one, I shot 20 rounds of hollow points through it. It was a mixture of some Hornady, I'm not sure what they were, but they're all Hornady. But I shot 20 more rounds through it. Now it has the Hogue grip all or whatever it's called on it, and most people that have one of these have this, and if you don't, you should get one because it helps tremendously on the shooting of this tiny little 380. Don't be fooled that a 380 won't pack a punch on both ends. It'll pound your hand and it'll do damage on whoever you need to deal with on the other end too. Don't even say a thing about the 380. I'm fully confident in the 380. Not even going to get into that on this video. But the improvements made to this LCP II, the main and the obvious one is the trigger. These guns are unloaded because I just unloaded them and just shot them, so shut up. This regular one has a long trigger, and it's hard, and it clicks there, but that's not a reset. Don't be fooled. You got to let it all the way out for a reset. When you're letting it out, it clicks. That's not the reset. All the way out. The new one, however, has more of a Glock style trigger with the tab. Everybody's familiar with that. It has a little bit of take up there and a crisp pull, and it's nice. It's real nice. And it also has a reset right there. You got that? It's a nice trigger. If you did not know this gun was hammer fired, you would swear it was striker fired. The trigger is really reminiscent of a Glock. I may end up liking this trigger more than a Glock, but I don't want to get into all that. I like my Glock 26, and that's what I carry 90% of the time. But the 10% of the time I do carry the little pocket 380. I'll say 10 to 20, but 80 to 90 I carry my Glock 26. Every now and then my Glock 30. But I have various ways I carried this one. And I did carry this one throughout my entire vacation and my last vacation. These are nice when you're, just want to throw it in your pocket, or you don't want to wear a whole holster and rig. You can put this in your pocket. These are truly pocket guns. And yes, it's safe to carry a gun in your pocket. Shut up. I've heard that so many times, I'm sick of hearing it. If you can't carry a gun in your pocket, don't carry a gun anywhere. This holster here is a cheapo, I don't know, it's buy off the shelf at any gun store. And the LCP fits in it good. The new LCP fits in it just as well. This new one is about an ounce heavier, they say, but I'm sure my little Hogue grip probably makes up at least half of that. I can't really tell any difference. Now the LCP II comes in the cardboard box with one mag, just as you'd expect. But it also comes with this little pocket holster. It's kind of a suede velour type stuff. It's not bad. It's better than nothing, and it'll work. It'll work for a pocket holster. Covers up the trigger. Sticky enough to stay in your pocket when you draw the gun out. So that's a nice little holster. My favorite pocket holster, though, is this DeSantis Nemesis. I've used this a bunch. I've carried this many, many, many miles, and it fits it just as well as it does fit this one. And I've had a dozen of these little 380s. I've had the Taurus TCP, carried it in it. Had the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. Had the Car CW 380. The Glock 42. Now it was bigger. It won't fit in this. The Glock 42 is quite a bit bigger than these little guns. I wish I had one here to show you, but I got rid of it. It had the 42 and the 43. I just don't care for that trigger mechanism in them, and it's very, very different from the conventional Glocks. But I'm going to go on and give my opinion right now that I think if this gun, this LCP II, keeps going the way it's started, in reliability that is, my ability to shoot it, that's all on me. The gun's only as accurate as the person shooting it. The more I shoot it, the better I'll get, and that goes for anybody. But I believe this may be the best 380 pocket pistol on the market today. And I've had most of them. I've had the Beretta, Pico, the little SIG P238. I liked it okay, but it was single action only. I just didn't care for that, that having the hammer back and all that. 1911 style with the safety. None of my other guns have safeties, and I don't want my little pocket gun to have a safety. And this does not have a safety. Hats off to Ruger to listening to the customers. They've come a long way in the last few years. The very first handgun I ever bought was a Ruger P85. I didn't know anything about anything back then. I was young and stupid and thought I knew everything. But I bought a P85. It was a brick. It was fairly reliable, but it was huge. It was heavy, and it did me well. I took my handgun training class and all that with it, my concealed carry class, and it did fine. That was a long, long time ago. But since then, I've developed into not caring much for them old Ruger pistols. But the new ones, the LCP and the LC9S Pro, I'm perfectly happy with them. I've always liked their revolvers and their rifles, but their pistols just didn't do much for me. But Ruger is coming around, and they're listening to their customers, and they're putting out new models that people want. And this is one of them. If you're in the market for a tiny 380, it's going to be hard to beat this right here. If it does something stupid on me, I'll post a new video. But so far, I have faith that this gun's going to be fine, and I believe it's going to be the best 380 out there, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I'm sure you've watched other videos. Another thing, the slide does lock back on the last round. That didn't really bother me that bad on the other one, that it didn't. But it's nice that it does. Now, it won't if you use the old magazines. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. If you use the new magazine, the slide won't lock back on the old one. It tries. You can tell it's trying, but it won't. The old magazines will work in it. They just won't lock the slide back. I bought this on vacation, as I said. It was in between $2.50 and $3. Most places I was finding them was $2.99. I got this one quite a bit cheaper than that. The old style running about $2 to $2.50. Maybe a little less if you don't want the stainless. They also make a LCP Pro with a red trigger and taller sights. I'm not sure if you can get that anymore, but if I can get my hands on one, I'll get it. And I'll make a video on it too. That's all I got today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.